thought the $15 million diamond was a promise of love. I didn't know that was the price. For my blood.
Welcome to Sebastian Shen's dark world. Watch out, because the secret in the White Room will change everything you know about love.
Chapter 1. Mercy tastes like blood. The city was a concrete graveyard under the relentless winter rain. On the 88th floor of the Shen Tower, the undisputed pinnacle of power, the air was colder than the frost outside. In a boardroom paved with polished marble, Aria Song stood alone. She looked like a stray swan caught in a den of starving wolves. 1. The humiliation. Crash. A porcelain teacup shattered at her feet. Scalding tea splashed against her pale skin, the heat a sharp contrast to the icy stares of the board members. $10 billion. Do you even know how many zeros that is, Aria? Seraphina Lam's voice hissed, sharp as a razor. Seraphina rose slowly from her leather chair. She was draped in limited edition couture, her neck adorned with pearls that were as cold as her heart. She looked at Aria with absolute loathing. A nobody. A pathetic intern from the slums. How dare you touch the classified files for the Seaport project? Because of your clumsiness, 3 years of the Shen Group's expansion is now in ruins. You could sell your soul and still not pay back a fraction of this debt. Aria looked up. Under the glare of the crystal chandeliers, her beauty was haunting. She didn't cry. For a girl who grew up with nothing, tears were a luxury she couldn't afford. Her skin was translucent, her lips pale but set in a defiant line. She had the look of a wild rose growing in a crevice of stone, thorny, feral, and dangerously alluring. Miss Lam, I'll repeat it one last time. I never touched those files. The security cameras on this floor. Slap. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Aria's face whipped to the side, her cheek blooming with the red print of Seraphina's manicured hand. Cameras? You mean the ones that went into maintenance the moment you sneaked into the chairman's office? Seraphina smirked. In this building, the truth isn't on film. The truth is whatever the shareholders say it is. Seraphina turned toward the head of the table, her voice suddenly breathless. Sebastian, darling, look at her. A girl like this needs to be erased. To set an example. 2. The predator at the table. Finally, the man at the head of the table looked up. Sebastian Shen. He sat there, encased in a bespoke suit that looked more like armor. He wasn't just a CEO, he was a financial dictator. His face was a masterpiece of cold, lethal lines, eyes dark as an abyss and lips curled in a chilling smirk. His presence was a heavy-duty drug. He didn't need to speak to command the room. His silence was enough to suffocate everyone in it. He looked at Aria. There was no pity, only the predatory curiosity of a hunter watching wounded prey. 10 billion. Sebastian's voice was a low vibration that seemed to rumble in Aria's very bones. Aria, what exactly are you going to use to pay me back? Aria took a deep breath. She stepped forward, standing directly in his personal space. She could smell him, expensive sandalwood, cold tobacco, and the intoxicating scent of raw power. I won't pay you with money. I'll pay you with my life. If I don't find the real mole within 24 hours, you can do whatever you want with me. Destroy me. Throw me into the darkness forever. The room gasped. Seraphina laughed hysterically. Your life? You think your life is worth 10 billion? But Sebastian stood up abruptly. He towered over Aria, his massive frame blocking out the light. He reached out, his long, cold fingers grazing the cheek where she'd been slapped. He traced the bruise, then suddenly gripped her chin, forcing her to look into his dark soul. Aria, your life isn't worth 10 billion. But this defiance? That might be worth something. He pulled a velvet box from his pocket. When it snapped open, the heart of the ocean, diamond blinded everyone. The deep blue stone glittered like a captured star. Seraphina froze, her breath hitching in jealousy. Sebastian, surely you aren't. Sebastian didn't even glance at her. He nonchalantly fastened the $15 million necklace around Aria's neck. The cold stone bit into her skin, a glittering brand of ownership. This is for the slap, he whispered, his hot breath brushing against Aria's ear. I don't like my things being soiled by others. But remember this, my diamonds aren't easy to wear. From this moment on, you are mine. If I want you to bark, you don't stay silent. And if I want you down, He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a gravelly silk. "You don't get back up." Aria felt the weight of the stone and the weight of her soul being sold. But as she looked into his dark eyes, her lips curled into a tiny, dangerous smile. "If I find the mole, I want Seraphina's position." The room erupted. Seraphina turned deathly pale. Sebastian let out a dry, dark chuckle. He let go of her chin and turned away, his voice booming with finality. "Meeting adjourned. Aria, my penthouse. Tonight, I want to see if that diamond looks as good on you as the rumors say." Chapter 2. The Feast of Wolves. The 30th anniversary gala of the Lam Group was a masquerade for predators in tuxedos. Under the weight of massive crystal chandeliers, dripping like frozen tears from the ceiling, the scent of vintage champagne mingled with the suffocating aroma of old money. Seraphina Lam stood at the center of the ballroom, her gold-sequined mermaid gown clinging to her curves like a second skin. She looked every bit the queen, but her eyes, sharp with winged eyeliner, kept darting toward the grand entrance. Then, the heavy oak doors swung open. A deathly silence washed over the room. Sebastian Shen stepped in. His presence was a gravitational force, crushing the air out of the room. But he wasn't alone. Tucked under his arm was a woman who didn't belong in this world. Aria Song. 1. The Red Temptation. Aria was no longer the humiliated intern drenched in tea. She wore a crimson haute couture gown with a slit that climbed dangerously high up her thigh, revealing legs as smooth as white marble. With every step on her 6-inch stilettos, she radiated a quiet, lethal defiance. Around her neck, the heart of the ocean, blue diamond pulsed under the lights, a silent, glittering scream of Sebastian's favor. Seraphina's grip tightened on her wine glass until her knuckles turned white. Jealousy, dark and toxic, surged through her veins. She couldn't believe it. This stray she intended to throw in the trash was now standing on her turf, wearing the very jewel she had coveted for years. "Sebastian, you're late," Seraphina purred, stepping forward with a fake smile that didn't reach her cold eyes. "And you have quite a sense of humor, bringing a piece of trash to my family's gala. That dress, that diamond, on her, it just smells like a cheap rental." 2. The Alpha's claim. Sebastian didn't even look at her. He took a flute of champagne from a passing waiter, his long, elegant fingers tapping the glass with a rhythmic, chilling sound. He cast a lazy, possessive glance over Aria, a look that felt like a physical touch. "Whether it's a rental or not," Sebastian's voice rumbled, "as long as I like how it looks on her, that's all that matters. Seraphina, perhaps you should worry more about your father's pale face over that failed seaport deal, and less about what my woman is wearing." Aria leaned in. A radiant but venomous smile played on her lips. She stepped closer to Seraphina, her breath, scented with expensive wine, brushing against the socialite's ear. "Miss Lam," Aria whispered, her voice a deadly silk. "Your Chanel heels are exquisite. It's a shame they've spent so much time under the desks of middle-aged board members. I wonder if that video from the Sheraton Hotel last month found its way to that big screen over there. What would your father's face look like then?" Seraphina froze. Her blood turned to ice. How did this bitch know? In a fit of blind rage, Seraphina swung her hand to deliver a slap, but Sebastian was faster. He caught her wrist in midair, his grip so tight the sound of her joints creaking echoed in the silence. "I told you," Sebastian growled, his eyes turning into dark abysses. "Don't touch my things without permission." He shoved her hand away like he was discarding a piece of filth. He turned to Aria, his gaze darkening with a different kind of hunger. "Let's go. The smell of cheap perfume in here is making me nauseous." 3. The Punishment and the Prize. He dragged Aria to the penthouse suite of the estate, a place reserved for the darkest of deals. The moment the door slammed shut, Sebastian pinned her against the cold mahogany wall. He didn't speak. He crashed his lips onto hers, a kiss fueled by bourbon and absolute dominance. It wasn't a kiss of love. It was an invasion. His large hands weren't gentle as they tore at the delicate silk of her dress, exposing her trembling skin to the moonlight. For Sebastian, this was a ritual. He wanted her to hurt, to remember that even if she held Seraphina's secrets, she was still a pawn on his chessboard. Aria's muffled gasps mingled with the rain lashing against the floor-to-ceiling windows. She wrapped her arms around his neck, her nails digging into the hard muscles of his back, leaving red trails of obsession. In this raw collision of flesh and desire, Aria knew she was playing a lethal game with the devil himself. Downstairs, Seraphina stood alone, tears of humiliation ruining her makeup. She made a silent vow. Aria Song would die in the filth she came from. The War of the Wolves had only just begun, and the most delicious prey was still in the hands of the most ruthless man in the city. Chapter 3. The Secret in the White Room. The morning sun over the city of S was harsh and unforgiving. It didn't bring warmth. It only illuminated the purple bruises scattered across Aria Song's porcelain skin. She stood before the floor-to-ceiling mirror in the gold-leafed bathroom of the penthouse, her fingers trembling as she traced the red welt on her neck, the ghost of the Heart of the Ocean necklace. The memory of the night before, the raw, violent passion with Sebastian Shen, was still thick in the air, smelling of sandalwood and bitter bourbon. But in Aria's heart, a terrifying chill was spreading. She didn't feel like a lover. She felt like a trophy that had been branded. 1. The ghost in the hospital bed. Aria stepped into the office of the Shen Group, her Saint Laurent suit tailored so perfectly it hid the exhaustion of her body. Today, she was officially the head of project management, a position she had traded her blood and dignity for, snatching it from Seraphina Lam's manicured claws. But her seat was barely warm when Sebastian's personal assistant, a man as cold as a machine named Chen, knocked. He placed a thick stack of medical files on her desk, alongside a black American Express card. "The chairman's orders," Chen said tonelessly. "You are to report to St. Mary's International Hospital this afternoon for a mandatory checkup. This is a non-negotiable requirement for those close to him." Aria narrowed her eyes. "A checkup? Sebastian is worried about my health now?" Chen didn't answer. "The car is waiting in the garage." 2. The human blood bank. St. Mary's was a place where the elite went to die in luxury. Aria was led to a restricted wing, where the air reeked of antiseptic and a silence so deep it felt like a tomb. After hours of blood tests and bone marrow screenings, she was brought to the office of an elderly doctor who looked at her with a mix of pity and fascination. "RH negative. A perfect match," the doctor whispered, sliding a folder across the desk. The name on the folder made Aria's heart stop. Violet Lam. Violet, Seraphina's older sister, Sebastian's childhood sweetheart. The woman the media claimed had died in a plane crash 5 years ago. But she wasn't dead. She was a vegetable, kept alive by machines in a secret room. And the most horrifying part? Violet had a face that was 90% identical to Aria's. Aria collapsed into the chair, the world spinning. The favor, the $15 million diamond, the executive position, none of it was for Aria. Sebastian had plucked her from the gutters and dressed her in couture just to prepare her for a long-term sacrifice. She wasn't his lover. She was a mobile blood bank, a living shadow for the woman he truly loved. "Kindness tastes like blood. How pathetic," Aria laughed, her voice echoing maniacally in the sterile white room. Tears scorched her cheeks, ruining her makeup. Seraphina's jealousy was a joke, because both Lam sisters were shadows crushing her life. One hunted her with malice, the other haunted her with her dying breath. 3. The fury of a fallen phoenix. While Aria was drowning in the wreckage of her soul, Seraphina Lam wasn't sitting idly by. In a secluded villa on the outskirts, Seraphina sat across from 3 tattooed men, the air thick with the smell of cheap cigarettes and raw aggression. "I want her gone from the Shen Group," Seraphina hissed, tossing a stack of cash onto the table. Her face was twisted with obsession. "Use the filthiest methods you know. Tear that Saint Laurent suit off her, destroy that face. I want to see how Sebastian reacts when his toy becomes a pile of trash." Seraphina knew the secret about her sister. She hated Aria even more for the cruel coincidence of their resemblance. To her, Aria was just a dirty tool trying to touch her sister's halo. The moment Aria stepped out of the hospital, a black truck began to tail her. On a deserted road, her car was forced off the shoulder. 3 men dragged her out. Aria fought like a cornered animal, her nails raking the face of one attacker, but she was quickly overpowered. A heavy blow to her stomach sent her to the ground, the metallic taste of blood filling her mouth. "Pretty thing, aren't you?" One man leered, his filthy hands tearing at her silk dress, exposing her shoulders to the dirt and grime. "Miss Lam said to take extra care of you. Boys, let's have some fun." Aria lay on the cold earth, staring up at the pitch-black sky. She didn't feel fear. She felt a burning, lethal hatred. Sebastian had betrayed her. Seraphina wanted to destroy her. There was no room for weakness anymore. 4. The savage possession. Before the thugs could go any further, the blinding high beams of a Rolls-Royce swept through the dark woods. Sebastian Shen stepped out, looking as calm and lethal as a grim reaper on a midnight stroll. Bang! Bang! 2 gunshots echoed. The men pinning Aria screamed as their kneecaps shattered. Sebastian walked forward, his polished leather shoes stepping over the torn fabric of Aria's dress. He didn't look at the thugs. His eyes were locked on Aria, shivering on the ground. He took off his black overcoat and draped it over her broken body, lifting her effortlessly into his arms. "Who gave you permission to touch what's mine?" Sebastian's voice was a low, terrifying growl. "Go back and tell Seraphina, if she touches my sister's life source again, I will erase the Lam family from the map tonight." Back at the penthouse, Sebastian threw Aria into a cold bath. He used the shower head to blast her with icy water, as if trying to wash away the filth of those men's hands. Aria didn't fight back. She stared into his soulless eyes, her voice raspy, a life source for Violet. "Is that all I am to you, Sebastian?" Sebastian froze, his eyes darkening. He gripped her throat, forcing her to face the brutal reality. "Yes, you should be honored to have that face and that blood. Otherwise, do you think you'd have the right to be under me?" He pushed her down into the freezing water, a savage, frantic possession taking place right there in the tub. Sex was no longer about pleasure, it was a punishment to remind her of her place. Aria bit her lip until it bled, refusing to make a sound. In the ice-cold water and Sebastian's brutality, the weak Aria Song died. As he walked away, leaving her shivering in the tub, Aria slowly stood up. She wiped the blood from her lip and looked into the steam-covered mirror. "Sebastian, you want me to be Violet's source of life? Then I'll make sure she dies. And you will crawl on your knees, begging me to let you love me." The war had just begun.
Sebastian Shen thought he could play God with Aria's life. He thought a $15 million diamond was enough to buy her silence and her blood. But he was wrong. Dead wrong. The Lamb has finally grown fangs, and the empire he built on lies is starting to crack. Aria is no longer just a spare part. She's a ticking time bomb in the heart of the Shen family. If you're rooting for Aria's revenge, let us know by hitting that like button right now. What would you do if you were in Aria's shoes? Would you run, or would you burn it all down? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Don't forget to share this story with your fellow dark romance lovers, and most importantly, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss what happens next. Coming up in Part 2, The Black Wedding. The hotel is in flames. Sebastian is on his knees begging for mercy. But Aria isn't looking for an apology. She's looking for a throne. Witness the moment the king of the city kisses the feet of the woman he betrayed. The Black Wedding is about to begin, and you're all invited. Click the video on your screen right now to watch Part 2. We'll see you in the fire.